Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, most home buyers are searching on those big national websites, you know the ones, Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com. But is that really the best way for home buyers to find the best homes in Colorado? And do they need to hire a buyer's agent to purchase a home here in Colorado?
Well, Richard, it's really up to the buyer if they want somebody, working for them, and that's fine. One of the things that changed last year with the settlement with the National Association of Realtors is that the commission paid to the buyer's agent actually is no longer available online. It's negotiable, so it's a part of the contract. And the way I look at it is it kind of depends on the offer. If they're coming in and saying, all right, we want to take 20,000 off the asking price and we want 20,000 in closing cost. And oh, by the way, I want 3% commission for taking stuff from your seller. I would say the seller is less excited about, stroking a check for 3% of the commission in that scenario. So it does make it negotiable now. And, it should be, I feel like it should be a win-win situation rather than a win-lose situation. What I mean by that is the buyer wants to buy the house, the seller wants to sell the house. The problem is the industry is trained agents to be a us against them kind of scenario. So they feel like their value is by getting stuff for the buyer. But at the end of the day, are they really getting the buyer the home that they want? Are they beating up the seller too much, so much so that they don't get the house? And so I see that happen an awful lot. And so that's why more and more we're seeing buyers go directly to the listing agent in order to get the home that they want. And there's nothing wrong with that. The state does require that we have to disclose exactly how we work with a buyer. I recently had somebody come to me on one of my listings and I shared her that information. I said, we can either be fair and neutral. Seller doesn't really care either way. I have to ask the seller. Some sellers are like, no, you have to be my advocate all the way to the end. In that case, we treat the buyer as a customer. But even in that case, some of the buyers don't care. They're like, I just want the house. I don't care about all these semantics, right? And that's okay. But it just depends on what the preference is of the buyer. And at the end of the day, there's no guarantee that if the agent says, the second rule that came out with the NAR settlement is that the agent has to have a written agreement with the agent before they show a house on how and how much they're going to get paid. Well, they can't guarantee that because it's negotiable. So let's say they said, all right, well, I want 3% on the sale and the seller's only going to pay 2 or 2.5. They got to go back to the buyer and ask the buyer to pay it. And so it could create a little bit of a conflict there. I was just talking to a colleague, works for another company, and actually brought a contract for one of my listings. And she was saying more and more, especially up in Denver, they're not offering any commission to the buyer's agent. So that could be the case as well. But at the end of the day, the seller wants to get to the finish line, right? And so it's up to them on how they want to handle that. I tell them to plan on it and plan on some negotiations, and that normally happens. I get a little bit less excited of supporting a buyer's agent when they do things like, recently I've had a couple of them ask me, can't you show the house for me? Because I'm busy. I got stuff going on. And I'm like, no, isn't that what you should be doing? Do you want me to write the offer too? Oh, maybe I'll just send you the check. How about that? Will that work? I mean, I know I'm being sarcastic, but they think it's perfectly normal for them to just not do any work and collect money. And so I can see why the sellers don't understand what they're paying for it, and the buyers too. They're like, well, wait a minute. You didn't even show me the house. I found the house. So there's a lot of discussion about this right now. I think over time, it's going to drive commissions down for buyers agents. And what they have to do is be able to position themselves to give massive value to the buyers to make them want to pay that 3% or whatever the percent is for them to get a house, right? One of the things that we offer to our buyers is insider access to homes that are not on the internet. We have hundreds of them right now, and we're able to connect our buyers with homes that they can't find by looking at Zillow, Homes.com, and all these other websites. So it's really interesting. It's going to be fun to watch over the next couple of years to see the changes that are going to take place within the industry regarding commission. And it will have downward pressure on commission, which will save both the buyer and the seller money over time. You know, buying a home absolutely is a very emotional thing for buyers and sellers, right? It's your space, it's what people care about. And you know, it's very important to buyers that they fall in love with the home, right? And that's part of what the marketing person does. The listing agent helps them fall in love with the home first online with pictures, and then when they get to the house. But at first, buyers need to know what can they afford. It's kind of funny. I get requests all the time from buyers wanting to go see homes without really knowing what they qualify for. And that's probably not a great idea, because at the end of the day, they should be making offers and with the confidence that they can get it to the finish line, in my view. And having that behind you as a buyer is a way really of carrying a big stick. Hey, I've got a check I can write essentially with this loan for this house, right? And it gives you a position to negotiate from strength. Now that agents are required to sign an agreement with their buyers before they show, um, I have seen them actually discourage their buyers from looking at a home if the seller wasn't offering the full amount of the commission. I had it happen right when the rule changed. Some agent called me and said, well, my agreement with my buyer is I get paid 3% and I'm worth it. So I need to know before I show this home, is the seller going to offer 3%? I said, I don't know. Depends on the offer. You know, maybe if you make a good enough offer, I know at least 2.5. And just picture this. He's sitting in front of the home with the buyer in the car behind him, pointing at the house, going, that one, I want to see that one, please. And the agent said, oh, forget it. I'm going to go show another house because I won't get my 3% that I deserve. Oh, how would you feel about that, Richard, if you were the buyer?
I would be dang upset. And honestly, I'd be thinking that I made a mistake doing that instead of going with you. And I'm dead serious about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was really sad for me to say. If the agent they're working with brings them something of value, that makes sense to me. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, I've got one of my buyer's agents, a master negotiator, and she knows how to put deals together. And she's amazing. And so, you know, she brings absolute value, not only by finding the deals, but also putting the deal together and working things out when we run into bumps in the road. So that has a lot of value, and not everybody knows how to do that. That's why she's a top selling agent. So really kind of not much has changed, except that that buyer agent commission became a little more negotiable. So, you know, a lot of buyers are asking the obvious question, what would you do for me for that 2 or 3 or whatever it is percent, right? What are you going to do for me? I was shocked that I got a listing well over $1 million that the agent was asking me to show it to his buyer for him. And so usually I'll just challenge them and say, well, sure, just refer them down to me and you'll get paid and you don't have to do anything. You know, they get a portion of the commission. Oh no, they were going to give that up. This is just kind of funny. But you know, we don't work the same way most agents do, and we don't hold people to agreements. At the end of the day, we want satisfied customers that basically say, hey, I was real happy working with that agent, and they tell their friends and family about it so we can grow our business. And if the agent's all about them and what they get, I think personally, I think that's a mistake. So if you are thinking of becoming a VIP buyer with someone on my team, give us a call at 719-301-3900, or you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice, and Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyers team. Richard?
Barb, we are to your favorite portion of the program. Tell us about some of those hot new listings that you've got. What do you have this week?
Well, Richard, I have an adorable cabin up in Florissant. It's on almost an acre, beautiful views. The cabin's in great condition. Even though it's an old, true log home, it's got new windows, new furnace. It's priced at $399, just adorable. So that one's a good buy in my view. We've got a really cool house that's owned by the VA south and east at 435 on 35 acres. We have a beautiful home in Pueblo on 9 Royal Troon, very prestigious neighborhood in the upper fives. A spectacular home we're going to be featuring open today from 1 to 2 on 411 Sunbird Cliffs. This home actually, it's over 7,000 square feet. The main level you could easily live on without going downstairs. And then the lower level has another side entry 3-car garage and just amazing views throughout this home. And that is set up where you could actually, it'd be almost like a mom-in-law suite downstairs. Plus there's another level to this home, lots of garage space. And sneak peek coming very soon. I have an adorable ranch. I call it Granny's Adorable Ranch in the low 300s. This thing has really been well maintained. It has new windows, furnace, water heater, gleaming hardwood floors, super cute. And then we also have coming up a spectacular ranch with a 3-car garage down in Fountain in the low 5s. So if you want to find out about all of our current listings or coming soon listings, go to barbhasthebuyers.com or give us a call at 719-301-3900. And one more point, this investor invitational event. If you are an investor and you're looking for homes that you cannot find online that might represent the best buys, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Some of these properties will only be made available by invitation to see, and we'd love to help you help them move on with their life and give you a great property that you could invest in. We have well over 300 properties just on my little login of people that are motivated sellers. So call us 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker, host of the program. She is your voice. Program airs every Saturday, 11 o'clock, right after Kudlow. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb, 719-301-3900, or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Remember, you can listen to replays on YouTube and on all of the podcast platforms. That's it for this week. Barb, you have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.